Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down a really fascinating lesson plan for young people that uses the whole hero's journey idea to talk about faith and taking action.
So we're just going to walk through the lesson exactly as it's laid out. We'll start with how it even defines a hero in the first place, then look at the main example it uses. From there, we'll get into the challenges of being a follower, see how it connects to a modern story, and finish up with the final mission it gives the reader.
Okay, so first things first. To really get what this lesson is all about, we have to start right where it starts, with the fundamental question of what it even means to be a hero.
Now this is pretty clever. Instead of just giving you some generic textbook definition, the lesson kind of throws down a gauntlet right from the start. It presents its number one example first, and then challenges you with this question, basically framing the entire discussion around one specific figure.
And of course, the lesson doesn't just leave you hanging with that question. It immediately puts forward its answer, that the ultimate hero, the benchmark for all others, is Jesus.
And this is where you can really see that hero's journey framework taking shape. It breaks down a really complex idea into three clear, simple steps. Step 1, the hero leaves their special world. Step 2, the hero serves others and sets an example. And Step 3, the ultimate sacrifice for the good of everyone else. I mean, that's a classic narrative arc, if I've ever seen one.
And to show that this isn't just a cool story they came up with, the lesson anchors this idea in its official belief statement. The key phrase here is that he experienced temptation as a human being. That really adds some weight to the whole hero concept, right? It wasn't easy.
Okay, so the hero is established. What's next in any great hero story? Well, it's about how that hero inspires other people to act. And that's exactly where this next section goes. It shifts the focus from the hero to the follower and what it takes to commit.
And I gotta say, the lesson gets super real right here. It asks a question that's probably on the mind of a lot of its young readers. And by using a phrase like Jesus Fan Club, it's totally acknowledging that, yeah, there can be social pressure or awkwardness that makes people hesitate to be public about their faith.
So how does the lesson address that hesitation? It brings in this verse, and this is a really important bridge. It reframes the whole idea of suffering or hardship. It's not something to run away from, it's actually part of the path. It's following in his steps. And that specific idea sets up this really powerful metaphor.
And here it is. This is so cool. The lesson uses this actual historical object, an ancient Roman coin, to create a visual. You see this ox, and it's standing between two things, an altar for sacrifice and a plow for work. The inscription says it all, ready for either.
This simple image just nails the point, you know? It perfectly illustrates the two sides of commitment. You've got the altar, that represents those big, dramatic moments of sacrifice, like facing ridicule for what you believe. And then you've got the plow, and that's the long, slow, day-in, day-out work of just living it. The message is you have to be ready for both.
All right, so we've got the big ideas, the hero, the call to follow, this whole altar and plow concept. But it's all still a little abstract, right? So to bring it all down to earth, the lesson tells the story of a young person who actually made this choice.
And if you look closely, Ife's story is its own little hero's journey. It starts in his ordinary world. He loves adventure novels. Then, boom, the call to action, his conversion. That's followed by a huge altar moment, a real sacrifice, where he literally burns his collection of books. And finally, the reward. He gets a ton of new religious books, and he transforms from just a reader of stories into a sharer of a new story.
So his story doesn't just end there. It pivots and becomes this direct message to you, the reader. This quote shifts the focus from his journey to yours, asking you to really think about the kind of media and stories you're letting into your own life.
And all of that brings us to the grand finale of the lesson. This is where the whole dynamic shifts. Up until now, the reader has been learning, observing, but now they get their own mission.
And check out the language here. It's so modern. The lesson frames its final challenge by putting the reader in a professional role. You're not just a follower, you're a publicist, an agent. The goal is to sell the ministry of Jesus in today's world. It's an assignment to make faith active and relevant right now.
And this isn't just a vague idea. The lesson gets really specific. It gives you what is essentially a creative brief, a marketing worksheet. It's asking you to get hands-on, design a logo, create a slogan, outline your whole strategy. It's this really smart blend of modern communication and religious messaging.
Now, to make sure this doesn't all just feel like a class project, the lesson grounds this final activity with its memory verse. And what this verse does is it elevates the whole task. It suggests that this creative work, this marketing plan,
isn't just a random exercise. It's actually a fulfillment of a purpose you were created for.
And that's where it all ends. There's no neat summary, no the end. Instead, it's a direct challenge. It flips the script and asks the reader to become the creator, leaving them with this one big personal question. So, what would your marketing slogan be? It totally transforms a passive lesson into an active mission.